Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Punchcast, episode 12. Once again, I am back with my good friend Darth Messiah, aka Hamza.
Hello, I am the pinky to Shaheen's brain. Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering where that was going. Pinky.
yeah, Pinky and the Brain from
I forgot about that. I'm like, what the fuck is this going?
I'm running out of famous duos, so I'm like really digging.
Okay. You got to start going through like famous duos in pop culture.
Exactly. Oh, right, here we go.
Yeah. So once again we're with the podcast. Last episode we were kind of talking about anime club stuff. That was supposed to be the big anime club episode, but once again we got sidetracked and kind of realized my anime club story, like the true story behind it all. Pretty lore heavy.
Way more, a lot more lore, a lot more backstabbing. It's a very Game of Thrones, if you're looking for
it has a prequel, the actual main series, a sequel that's not as good because like the main character left. It has it all. It has something for everyone, kind of. Mainly if you like me. But I guess I'll actually, before we get into that, let's just go over some of the things we've been watching, reading, and playing this week. So how's your week been going, Hamza?
I'm doing well, a lot more exercise, and I'm sore everywhere. But like for me, it's been a lot of let's say Shin Kamen Rider. We both saw. We both didn't like it, or we were disappointed. I wouldn't say didn't like it, but disappointed by it.
It's just pretty mixed experience.
Yeah, pretty mixed experience. I got so mad at that because there were a lot of action direction that I was very annoyed by. Like, as an action movie fan that is very particular about his action movie. Shaheen knows how nitpicky I am.
Yeah, he had to watch 3 Hong Kong action movies the wash down.
Yeah, I watched Jackie Chan's Crime Story. I watched Mr. Nice Guy. I watched a Jet Li movie called Legend of the Red Dragon, and I saw a Korean action movie. It wasn't martial arts related, but still a fun action movie. The Gangster, the Cop, and the Devil.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like an interesting one.
Yeah, basically a gangster and a cop have to team up to kill the serial killer because he's causing havoc, and he stabbed the gangster, but he survived. And the cop is obviously he's the cop. He wants to catch the serial killer no matter what. So that was interesting and fun. So I was because I was very mad at certain action movie decisions that Shin Kamen Rider made, and I was like, I need good action in my life, man. So I went and watched those, and then a lot of comic book stuff. Still reading Radiant Black. That's really good, and Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, Inferno Girl Red, Radiant Pink. I also read that was also really fun. The whole Massiveverse, Shane talked about it before. It's really, really fun and exciting, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, I need to get back up to date with the Massiveverse because I kind of fell behind because I don't know why I could keep up with weekly manga, but monthly comics, I'm nah. For some reason.
Then you're me. I can't keep up with anything. I'm a binge reader, so
it's weird because I don't know. I'm really mixed. I don't know why with comics for some reason catching up with weekly just I guess because I haven't really committed to memory when chapters come out because most of the manga it's okay, weekly this comes out, and then for some other series that are not official officially translated and don't have apps, it's just the translators. For the most part, certain translators are pretty easy to follow, and then at least most of them I follow through Twitter, so I kind of put their notifications on because they'll make a post oh hey, new chapters for this series came out, and they post the link of where I could find it, which is why when Twitter goes down, because it probably is, or X, I'm going to be very disappointed because then I have to find a new way to follow these translation groups.
I think they'll move to Threads, right? And then let's just follow them on Threads.
Maybe, but then there's also Blue Sky, but apparently you need an invitation for that, which is weird.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Jeez.
I don't know the context. I see a lot of people being hey, does anyone have Blue Sky invitations? I'm wait, why do you need an invitation for a social media website? That's kind of weird.
All right. Yeah, no, that sounds dumb. That's you're limiting you're not going to be mass market then. You're limiting the whole pool of like people that can
I
be
mean,
on
I
it. Yeah.
mean, you could argue like, oh, it's to filter out people, but I'm like, yeah, okay, if one asshole comes in and invites his other asshole friends, you kind of lost the purpose right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because I remember the other day, because I have Twitter on my phone and it's still Twitter, it's not X on my phone just yet. But I tried
Same for me.
accessing
Yeah.
Twitter on my laptop, and my laptop didn't save my login for some reason. It normally did. I'm not sure it was because the update like logged me out. So I tried signing in, but I'm not sure if you remember a while back, Twitter was like, oh yeah, you have to get like, we're stopping the 2-point verification thing. You have to, in order to keep your Twitter account, you have to use like a different authorizer to like sign in. I forgot which one I used for my phone to get in, so I just could not sign in on my laptop. So if I ever get locked out on my phone, I'm done with Twitter.
I found it interesting that all of this is happening the year you start your like media thread.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, really, I really wanted to do a media thread this year. And, I mean, to be honest, it's not that. There's a lot of movies I've seen that just have not gone on that media thread. I've noticed I'm only putting like weeby stuff in that media thread. Like I saw Mission Impossible, did not put it in my media thread.
Yeah, but like you put like the Batman animated movies and like
yeah. See, that's still. Oh, yeah. I guess I'm putting more of my nerdy stuff. I'm not putting really like I guess normie stuff.
Yeah, true. Well, Mission Impossible is normie, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, it's a high, like I was going to say AAA movie. It's more for video games. It's a big budget blockbuster movie from Hollywood starring Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's pretty normie as it gets.
Yeah.
A bunch of dads in there.
Also for me, it's been a weird year because like I watched Kamen Rider 01. That's all about AI. I watched Mission Impossible, which has an AI villain. Then Shin Kamen Rider also has an AI villain. So it's like, what is, man, AI is really taking over. Like I know 01's like 2 years ago, but like I watched it this year. So it's like, for me, it's like recent. So it's like weird.
Once again, while I do love my robot buddies of like Kikaider, Astro Boy, Metalder, those are my homies.
But
I swear to God,
I will be racist towards them.
See, they're one of the good ones, but no, but they're all suffering. They all, besides maybe Astro Boy, they're all suffering because of their stupid. Like, am I a real man or am I a robot? So we've kind of like put them in this eternal hell. So that's kind of on us. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of being like very anti-robot. I'm like, you are a tool. you do not think. You serve me. I don't know. I say that, and then I have like a robot best friend in like the next 5 years. I'm like, I'm sorry. I was scared. I was uneducated.
That should be your tagline on Twitter or X or Threads or whatever. Like, Falcon Punch, the robot racist.
I swear that's probably wrong. We'll name that podcast episode where we really went and I'm like, just like, yeah, robot racists.
Yeah,
100%. I wonder how fine that'll age soon. But am I going to be wrong? We see so many movies of robots just being terrible, being like, humans are the true blight of the universe. Even though I don't know, I think a society made of robots, they have to have factories and maintain themselves. So I don't think they'll be treating the environment that much differently.
Yeah, true. And other things I've consumed, I finished Fire Punch. That was a manga that I read. You're not going to get a full review here, but it is good. But like something I can't read again because it's a very miserable, sad story. A lot of fucked up stuff happens, and it took me a while to process it all. Like, what does it mean? What is it trying to say? Because it's a very heavy like book, not like a fun like. It starts off like a fun superhero story, but like it turns into something else entirely later on. Typical of Fujimoto writing, I guess.
But that's why he's awesome, man. I fucking love Fujimoto, especially after this week's Chainsaw Man episode with the karaoke. I mean, that's chapter's probably going to be long gone before this podcast comes out. Because we're like, I think right now in terms of recording, we're like 3 weeks in advance. And I upload this podcast like bi-weekly. So yeah.
Oh, so you're going to be 3 chapters behind by the time it comes out.
Probably.
Or like even more than that.
Yeah, because like it's weird. Chainsaw Man goes between weekly and bi-weekly. I guess it just depends on what Fujimoto feels like doing, which is good. I'm glad. I hope that kind of lessens the blow for mangaka that kind of have that model. Especially since chapters are kind of reduced. Like some of them are like 15 pages, which I'm like, sometimes like, oh, Fujimoto, I just want more. But I'm like, take care of yourself, man. But
you other
yeah,
mangaka, you work your ass.
yeah, no, like because it seems like that's like the Jump Plus thing, which I kind of hope other mangaka would do, because like Oda and Hirokoshi for like One Piece and Hero Academia, they're like really just hurting themselves to finish their manga.
Yeah, that's always the dark side of this thing we love that I hate. Yeah, I wish they would just give a more reasonable deadline time, or maybe I don't know, plan it out like in advance or something. Whatever.
Yeah, see, that's just the hard thing about art, because like obviously over here, we have the whole like writer strike and actor strike and all that. It's just I don't know. It just seems like with entertainment, everyone loves it, but no one really wants to actually take care of the people who actually make it.
Yeah, man, that's sad.
Yeah,
yeah. So, anyways, to go on, I read Fire Punch. I'm starting Lady Snowblood. Kill Bill before it was Kill Bill.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a movie though, like Lady Snowblood movie, like not Kill Bill.
Yeah,
like
it's a classic movie. Yeah, I think that's what inspired Quentin Tarantino more than the manga.
That makes sense. Yeah. So like, yeah,
I think they actually used the theme song from that movie in Kill Bill.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I was looking at when I was going on my action movie like rant, rage watch, I was happy to watch them, but I was like, man, I just need some good action movies. It came up as one of the top 10 action movie, like martial arts movies to watch. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, right. Because I was reading but I want to read the manga first, then I'll watch the movie.
I still need to watch the movies because they're on Max. I've had them on my watch list forever. I just don't know why I have not seen them.
Yeah, I'm reading a lot of old school Batman right now, like Steve Englehart Batman. Reading that. Reading Superman the '90s with the stupid triangle number bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's been fun. What else? Oh yeah, I already talked about the Massiverse, and let's see. Oh yeah, I still need to finish anime-wise Kanan and Dynazenon. I'm watching those. I'm liking both, but I still need to finish those. So yeah, we'll probably get reviews on all of these things in depth, probably in another podcast. But like, this is what I'm consuming right now. Yeah.
Yeah, on my end, a bit lighter because I was trying to watch Garo Gold Show or Gold Storm, I think is the name of that season.
Yeah.
It's obviously not fully out there officially, that season of Garo. Mm-hmm. So the torrents I found for it, not that many people were seeding it, and then the website I go to download it was kind of down for a while. And I'm like, I don't really feel, because I remember at the time when I was getting into tokusatsu, I'm like, oh yeah, Kiss Asian and all that. Yeah. But those sites suck. And for some reason, they have very low, despite that show coming out in like 2015, they have like 480p quality for the shows for some reason on the website. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for that. So I kind of put that on hold for a while. Meanwhile, I guess I was reading more this week. I was re-catching up with Kinnikuman Man, which has been great. That series just continues to surprise me. Because I remember reading it, I'm like, right now they're fighting gods. I'm like, where do they go from there?
It has to end, right? With this,
I don't know. These guys are so creative. I think they could convince me that I haven't seen everything. Because right now they're fighting gods, and it's going full comic book mode now. Because there's this god of time. He kind of steps out, and he's just like, I'm going to make my own cast of characters from different parts of time. They're going to be the Time Supermen. And one of them, I guess, is from another Kinnikuman series that we all thought wasn't canon anymore, but I guess is now going to become canon, or it's going to be like a Crisis on Infinite Earth situation. I don't know, but Kinnikuman's freaking awesome, and I really need to make a video on it sometime, because I think I only made one video a long time ago, and that's when I was like early into Kinnikuman. That was before this like 2011 reboot.
Are you going to do like an introduction like you did through Sentai and stuff?
It's going to be that for Kinnikuman, because I feel like once you can overcome some of the barriers of entry to it, it's a great shonen manga. I mean, it's technically now it's more seinen, but still has a very shonen heart. but yeah, Kinnikuman's Man's a fantastic series that definitely deserves more love. I wish we got more information on the anime because there is an anime that's supposed to be coming out, but
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, so I'm curious. And then reading wise, I was reading Thor, like the Jason Aaron run, which was actually been pretty good so far, and then Spider-Man. And then also I've been reading a manga called Cat-Eyed Boy, which is a manga I've been meaning to read for a very long time because it was always advertised in the Dorohedoro volumes I would buy. And it's a manga from Kazuo Umezu, who did Drifting Classroom and 14. Both of which are some of the craziest mangas I ever read and highly recommend. I mean, 14 especially. 14 is a trip. I made a video on it, but YouTube took it down for some reason. So, yeah, just know, definitely give 14, my highest recommendation if you want to just see some weird shit. The main villain is a mutant chicken man named Chicken George. So, there you go.
By the way, there's another chicken manga from like Viz, Rooster Fighter.
Oh, Rooster Fighter. Yeah, I need to. I read like a chapter of it. It's like One Punch Man if the main character was a rooster. So at least that's what the first chapter kind of conveyed to me. But Cat-Eye Boy is kind of like Gegege Kitaro, which is a series I like, but it's like this yokai boy that kind of goes around and gets into like some spooky mischief with like different yokai and other supernatural tales. So I've read like 5 of the 13 chapters, and it's available on the Viz app if you have access to that. But it's
okay.
It's been pretty fun, but it's like one of those older manga series where like one chapter could be like 60 pages and then another chapter is like 180.
Okay. All right, yeah,
I don't know why they did that back then. I'm not sure. Like it just here you could do 50 chapters and here you could just make a volume's worth of work, but that's a chapter. But yeah, it's been fun so far. I like Kazuo Umezu's style, and I'm always up for seeing like some freaky yokai populate a page, which this manga's full of. So that's been good.
Yeah, there's 2 volumes of it officially translated as well. So like, nice.
Yeah. So again, all the time, like in the back of every single Dorohedoro volume, because in the manga, like they would advertise other manga, and for the longest time, I just kept on saying Cat-Eye Boy, Cat-Eye Boy, Cat-Eye Boy. I'm like, I guess I'll give this a read sometime. And then I found out it was from Kazuo Umezu. I'm like, oh, okay, I definitely got to read this because he's one of the horror icons. I know like a lot of props for horror manga go to Junji Ito, which rightfully so. Definitely a very talented artist and master what he does. But I feel like because of that, we shine so much spotlight on Junji Ito. We don't really see much of anyone else. And Kazuo Umezu is one of like the people that inspired Junji Ito. So I also feel like he deserves some love and credit. So I'm glad that a few of his series are available on the Viz app. So if you haven't, definitely check them out. Or, I guess in certain countries, you could probably buy some of his work. I highly recommend everything I've seen. It's a weird mix of just horror with just over the top, unintentional comedy. Is the best way I could describe it, because like a lot of his series just have things that almost feel like they work on child logic, but at the same time it kind of makes it scarier because then you start feeling like a kid in a terrified situation. Because there's a scene in like Drifting Classroom where there's this monster in the school they're in, and one of the kids is like, "Just pretend you're a chair and he won't see you." So they all just start like squatting, pretending they're a chair, and the monster looks and he just sees chairs and walks away. Which I'm like, that is such like a kid thought. Like I'm not sure if you did it as a kid, but I remember when I would play hide and seek, I would hide under a blanket. I'm like, they can't see me. I'm under a blanket. When it's like, yeah, there's a human silhouette under a blanket. I can clearly see what's that. Like it kind of operates on that logic sometimes, but it still could be legitimately scary. I mean, the Drifting Classroom, those kids go through some horrific shit. It's a bunch of kids getting brutally hurt and screaming through an entire manga, but it's really good if you can handle that kind of stuff.
Oh god, and also like comic book wise, so like you're reading Thor, and I think you're in the part with Jane Foster, right?
Yes, Jane Foster.
Yeah,
yes. When she becomes Thor, which has been pretty good so far. I've been really liking the Jason Aaron run for it because, like, whenever I was getting into Thor, I was only getting into him because I was kind of in the fantasy mood, and like I knew there was like 3 arcs that everyone recommends. Was this Walter Simonson, which I've talked about in the past on this channel. That's the one with Frog Thor and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And Beta Ray Bill, who's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the JMS run, which I guess is kind of important leading up to the JMS run because there's a couple things that, I mean, for the Jason Aaron run, because there's some things that correlate. That one was okay. It had a really interesting concept, but like it wrapped up pretty quickly.
I mean, for that one, Matt Fraction apparently picks it up and like properly ends it. That's what I've heard. So
I was going to read that, but like again, I'm getting most of my comic recommendations from Reddit, which I know not that many people like. Reddit kind of has like a stigma against it, but
no, it's
if
fine.
you're getting into comics, like
you need
I
a
feel like
starting
it's
point.
yeah. Because there's actually not as many YouTubers that try to help you get into comic books as I thought there would be.
Oh no, there isn't. And if they do, like, there's some, but they give you. It's difficult again.
Like if you want to get the Batman and Spider-Man, thousands upon thousands of videos for that.
Oh,
you want to get into like, Ghost Rider or Thor? Good luck.
Yeah, it's tough because you have multiple characters and you want to have a good. And I mean, I've seen videos that give you a general guideline. Like, I wish someone told me that, like, when you're reading, like, you know, you don't have to read everything from the beginning. A lot of writers will, like, if you're missing information, they'll tell you the information in the story. And I can give examples. Like when I was reading Green Lantern, I never read Green Lantern before until the 2000s stuff. And anytime an old school villain would show up, they would explain to him, like, oh yeah, this is our history. This is what happened before, blah, 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 and everything. So yeah, like it's, and then you have like, you know, supplements, like I would say like Comic Pop or something where like, you know, he gives you the context before starting the story. So you can just watch that and then read, you know,
yeah, pretty much. And then I feel like, at least for the more popular superheroes, like any superhero that has had an animated series or movie in the past couple of years, I feel like so much of their stories out there in the public consciousness that you could still kind of jump in for the most part and kind of have a lot of gaps filled in.
Yeah, maybe, kind of, sort of, yeah. I would still recommend, if it has a definitive starting point, just go with the starting point. Like, for example, like, Superman has a very definitive starting point. So I would just recommend, you know, pick that up and go from there. Like,
plus Superman has like 4 different freaking origin stories at this point in terms of comics. So like,
yeah, but like, you know, like, you know, those origin points come like later, or like, you know, there's one definitive origin that they use for a while, then they change it, and that becomes the next definitive origin story, then the third.
Yeah, I don't know why. Is there any other superhero that's like that? Because like, I know Batman's kind of like, yeah, year 1.
Pretty much, they tried for a little bit with year 0 in New 52, but like, no, they pretty much just focus on year 1. What else? Who am I thinking of? Green Arrow has 2. The Green Arrow is a year 1, and like another one during the 80s and 90s called Wonder Year.
Oh yeah, I remember. Actually, I own the year 1 for Green Arrow because like that's when I was watching the Arrow TV show. I'm like, oh my gosh,
that's what the TV show is based on. That, you know, one. What else? Robin has a bunch.
I see.
Well, because like, you know, you have like Long Halloween. You have Robin year 1. You have like the one I showed you, Robin and Batman. Like that's another origin story. That's a 3-issue like mini. Like there's that. So there's quite a few. But like, yeah, like Superman is the one because I think his origin is the most iconic and the most simple and perfect. So like, I don't know, everybody's like trying to recreate it and play around with it. So yeah, maybe that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely all fun stories, but at the same time, it's like I hate when sometimes I go because as we discussed on the podcast, I've really grown to like Superman. I truly think he's one of the best superheroes based off everything I've been reading so far. But I like sometimes when I try looking for other like recommendations for Superman comics, and it's like, oh, top 10 Superman stories, and like 3 of them are just origin stories. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, other characters are thankfully much easier. Like Flash is just 1 book. I can give you the origin story for him, like, and then. Well, Flash, they've done his multiple times. I think like 2-3 times now. Wonder Woman has also quite a few. If a character's been around long enough, like even for Spider-Man, they don't change it. They just redo it with different art, like in different books. But like it's still the same, like bitten by a regular out of Spider. Yeah. Fantastic
Yeah.
Four, cosmic rays going out into space and shit. So yeah.
Yeah, so I still need to make a comic book video. It's just that's going to require a lot of footage, and then I really want to get the point across of like why it's kind of important to check out both, and why that's kind of cool, and we shouldn't be constantly being like manga's better, conversation over. Like it's a very small brain take.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that whole comic books versus manga war. I like it as a comparison, like, oh, comics books does it this way, manga does it this way. I don't mind those, but like just like the flat out like manga's better, comic books are woke, or I get really sleepy and tired with those arguments.
Yeah, it's a very tired argument, especially you've been like, okay, but like most of your whole oil, everything's woke is like very surface level. It's either you got a panel out of context, or like wasn't that the whole thing with the Joker pregnancy, which that didn't really happen. It was like a joke or something.
Yeah,
but everyone was freaking out about it.
It was a backup story. And it was a joke because the writer wanted to do it as like, oh, what if, like, you wanted to recreate like a silly Silver Age story. And also, Joker wasn't pregnant. He was just like large, but he was not pregnant. Like, he had a giant belly, but like he wasn't pregnant. He didn't give birth.
Okay, so see, that's just how these like reactionary these people are. They're like, I don't even think they're comic book fans. They just like being mad.
Like, I think Clayface was inside him, and he was like there, and then he like I think he pooped him out or like vomited him and came out.
Okay,
yeah, but like it wasn't somebody like inseminated him. But, like, like still, like it's not technically a pregnancy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's still a bit weird, but yeah, it's just like it's a very tired argument. It's annoying, especially when like both sides of the industry have inspired each other in the past. I mean, like maybe not so much. Well, actually, I guess like Hirokoshi really likes American comic books. I mean, like he kind of directly referenced Killing Joke.
Very heavily like takes from American comic books. All Might himself is like a Superman parody. Some of them on a Captain America parody as well, so that I can see. Yeah,
like he is a big fan of Spider-Man, and then there's mangakas that have been friends with comic book artists, like I think Mike Mignola, him and Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh. I think they were friends for a bit. Like they exchanged art with each other and everything. Like they had a moment.
With each other. Nice. I didn't know that. Nice.
Yeah, like Takahashi drew Hellboy with like Yu-Gi-Oh hair, I think, or something like that. It was it was fun. It's like there's a lot both industries can love, and I mean from the very beginning, like all the way back to Tezuka. Tezuka was heavily inspired by Disney. Like the pop cultures go back. There's a very back and forth influence. Right now we're in like the age where everyone's kind of trying to take more from anime and manga from a bit, because it's the new hotness.
Yes.
So like everyone, like it's obvious with the new Superman cartoon, which at least as of now, is recording this episode. There's like 4 episodes out, and I think it's a fantastic show that's definitely doing what it set out to do, which is attract new people, which is definitely doing. And I'm hoping those people do become actual comic book fans, because I think Superman deserves it. Because I'm tired of seeing people being like Superman sucks and he's boring.
Yeah,
especially when this person has a One Punch Man avatar. I'm
like, that's something I don't know if that'll ever go away, but I do hope it decreases significantly after a while. And then, the people go read the comics, watch the '90s animated show. The Superman Lois live action show right now I've heard is pretty good.
I've been wanting to watch it, but it's like, that's the thing. I'm weird because I see a TV show. It's like hour long or 40 minutes for an episode. I'm like, do you know how many chapters of manga I could read in that time? Or like I could watch like Toku? Yeah, like I could probably watch like 2 episodes. But if you skip like the opening, and a lot of them don't have ending songs, like probably fit in like half of another episode. That's my unfortunate thing. There's a lot of TV shows I want to watch, like X-Files, Buffy, Breaking Bad, some of the Superman shows, but I'm like even Peacemaker.
Isn't that on Max? Yeah, it is on Max.
Yeah, it is, but like they're 40-minute episodes. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I caught, maybe because I was watching it weekly, because I watched like our Flag Bean's death which is a great show.
Yeah, it's a comedy pirate show. Yeah,
I really hope it gets a second season.
I think it is, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's confirmed.
I'm not sure if it has been confirmed or not. I haven't really heard much about it. And then Max has been doing some dumbass decisions lately. So who knows? I know the whole streaming thing. It's very convenient, but it just seems like it's been nothing but headaches for actual creatives. Especially when I think Paramount said they're not going to make anything original. They're just going to focus on IPs for
they said that they're not going to release any animated movies or any original movies and just focus on making more IP stuff, which sad.
Sounds miserable.
Which is just sad. Just so it makes me so sad.
I feel bad for kids. Everything is going to be like an IP your parents grew up with. You're not going to have something that's just yours.
Yeah, I really hope we get out of this phase because, we're in the strikes are happening right now. So who knows what will be, when the strikes are resolved, what the Hollywood landscape will be. But I really do hope we get out of this and we go back to just to make original stuff. As much as I like comic books and adaptations and all of that stuff, I would just really like original stuff that I haven't seen before. That would be nice.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind a superhero movie that just was an original superhero. Just make a completely original superhero that has no backstory. His backstory is his first movie, but it's different somehow. I wouldn't mind that.
I would love a completely original animated superhero movie. That would be awesome. I would like more original animated projects. I mean, live action, whatever, fine. I'm more interested in animation. Give me more animated stuff, please. That's action-oriented, action-adventure, stuff. I want to see those. I'm not that the family movies are bad. Yeah, they're great, but come on, man. It's animation was not meant to be inside this one box.
Yeah, I know. As we've seen through, a lot of pieces of, Japanese anime that it could be so much more than kids' cartoons or just really mean-spirited adult comedies.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm really excited for the TMNT movie. I'm okay, this is it's not original, but again, something like this would be great, once in a while.
Well, yeah, because I remember everyone's been hyping up Barbie and Oppenheimer. I'm just in the corner being I just want my turtles, man. I don't really care about either or. I just want to see turtles. It's I like turtles.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone's yeah, those two. Which I'm kind of glad that at least those two movies seem to be doing really well. I mean, I guess Barbie is based off an IP, but it's not a superhero IP.
I'm worried about Transformers because I don't think anybody cared or liked the new one. I liked it. I saw it in theaters.
Heard it was just okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
But then they're yeah, we're going to combine with Transformers. I'm
yeah, it's going to be with G.I. Joe. Yeah, it's going to be with G.I. Joe, and I'm just happy because it's so not Michael Bay that I'm oh my god, it's the best thing ever.
But also I don't know what the G.I. Joes are going to do because they're human. Transformers are huge. They're building sized, aren't they?
That's why I'm going to read the comics and find out.
So I'm just what are you expecting for unless then the G.I. Joes get in a mech, but then at that point why?
Yeah, I don't know.
And also it's going to be weird a human getting into a mech and the Transformers right there. It's that just looks unnatural.
Yeah, so I'm going to read the comic book and find out. That's literally the only thing I'm reading. I'm planning to read G.I. Joe because I'm okay, what is this? What is this about? What? Because out of all of the 80s cartoons, hype that was there, right? The only two I care about are Transformers and Ninja Turtles. That's it. I don't care about She-Ra. I don't care about Thundercats. I don't care about He-Man. I don't care about what else was there. Fuck, there was a lot during the 80s.
I think those were the main ones.
Yeah, the main big ones, right? Yeah, I don't care. Turtles and Transformers are the only two I give a shit about. The rest can, whatever, live or die. I don't really have a stake in it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's mainly just Turtles itself. My Transformers.
You don't even like Transformers. Yeah,
I'm okay with them. I'm probably willing to go back and watch some of the shows and I know there's a bunch of Transformers anime that never made it.
Yeah, they never made it to England. Yeah, sorry, England. West. What the fuck? I don't know why I said England.
I guess you're trying to go with English, but
English,
you
and
just
then
England.
England. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, that's pretty much everything I've checked out for this week. So I might as well quickly.
Also, Shaheen hates Gwen Stacy. He's been reading Spider-Man. He's like, Gwen Stacy can fuck off.
Yeah. Okay, maybe not to that extent. I'm still like that for anime. Aunt May could go fuck off. I really like Ultimate Aunt May could hang, but 616 Aunt May, she could like have a heart attack.
I mean, she does. She's in the hospital right now where you're reading.
Permanently. Which I feel bad for saying because, like, honestly, obviously, she's a sweet old lady and everything, but like, she's not a fun character to read. And like, I guess like realistically, there's it's a pretty real situation, but also I never understood how she's like a grandma. I never understood that. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that tangent because I'm really going to go off on that. But anyways, going back to Gwen Stacy, I was kind of hyped because like, if you listen to like a lot of like comic book history, there's a lot of actual comic book writers that hate Mary Jane and really liked Gwen Stacy and believe like Gwen Stacy was like the true love and everything. So I was expecting like a really cool romance between the two. And then before I actually jumped on like main OG Spider-Man, I read Spider-Man Blue, which if you don't know what that's all about, that's kind of like Peter / Spider-Man's reflection of his love that he had with Gwen Stacy before she died. Spoilers, but like I think everyone it's practically a meme at this point. But yeah, I don't know. She kind of sucks. She's just
a lot of people like really romanticize this era of like Mary Jane and Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy, like this love triangle thing. Like people really like, so many writers and even fans want to like go back to this era, which I'm like, why? Just move on. Like
if there was a tier list for like Peter's romantic interests in terms of what I've seen so far, Mary Jane is definitely like high.
Yeah, she's top tier. Yeah,
Betty's like F. Betty is like,
you hate Betty. Yeah, right.
I hate Betty. Betty's annoying as fuck.
I think you might hate Debbie more. I don't know, Elsie. You haven't met her yet, but you will.
All right.
Because Debbie, like I don't know, Peter did something to Debbie.
Oh gosh, yeah. And then Gwen, like I don't know, because like in the beginning she's like, oh wow, this nerd Parker doesn't like look at me, and like I kind of find that interesting, but also kind of fuck him. But then later on she gets more like interested in him, but then like it's kind of like, I know Stan Lee wasn't like the greatest in writing women characters, but like it's almost like, oh, he doesn't pay attention to me anymore, or oh, I'm just going to like completely be mad at him because of one thing that it just really convoluted stuff sometimes. Like, come on, man. Stan the man, come on.
Stan he wanted to make so much drama. That's why, like, he loves drama and stuff, like melodrama and everything. So like,
it goes a little too far. I'm like, oh god, I hate it.
A lot of misunderstandings. A lot. I mean, to be fair, Peter kind of puts himself into that positions of misunderstandings because of the Spider-Man stuff. That he's late to something.
Sometimes it's valid, but then like one time where there's a scene in the comic book where it kind of looks like Peter was like attacking Gwen's dad. I mean, I guess he did, but like Gwen's dad was working for the Kingpin, but like Gwen didn't really care. It's like, you're attacking, which I guess is kind of valid. But like the way it's handled is not exactly the greatest. It almost kind of feels forced, especially the aftermath of it. Like, Captain Stacy literally has to sit Gwen down like, no, Peter's a good guy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's happening. I'm really like, so like you're reading Spider-Man, or Spider-Man's going to take you a while. Reading Thor. What's next? Like,
at least in terms of Marvel, because I'm probably going to finish Thor first before Spider-Man.
Mm.
I definitely want to go back into Hulk because like I had a rough. Cause I was going to treat Hulk the way I was treating Spider-Man, but like,
Yeah, I was even
uh,
shocked by that decision. I'm like, okay, this guy really likes monsters. Like,
yeah, but I kind of found a way to like navigate through Hulk.
mm.
It's going to be too long to explain everything. Because I was going to go with Peter David, but then I was like looking at the things before the Peter David run, which is like the most iconic Hulk run besides like Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like interesting things like, oh, this person dies and this guy hires like a Hulk army. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds really interesting. I want to go read that. So I'll go back and just kind of jump around through Hulk. So I'll probably go through Hulk, and then after Hulk, maybe want to get a character that's like not as massive. Like I have to go back to like the 70s to read their stories. I might go with like Daredevil and read some of the more iconic Daredevil stuff.
Oh, the Frank Miller stuff?
Yeah, like Frank Miller. Damn it, I'm forgetting his name. The guy who wrote Ultimate Spider-Man.
Bendis. Yes.
Yeah, like Bendis, Chip Zdarsky, Mark Waid. I've heard they've all had great runs on Daredevil.
To be fair, with Daredevil, like you have back-to-back good runs. You have Bendis had a good run. Brubaker had a really good run. Charles Soule and Mark Waid had really good runs, and then now Zdarsky. Like Daredevil just back-to-back good.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty consistent superhero. Like he doesn't get fucked over that much by editorial, at least from what I could.
Daredevil
see.
like lies in that really weird position of like he's a known superhero, like he has some level of popularity, but he's not Spider-Man level of popular.
Right.
Yeah. So like he kind of like he's in that sweet spot of like he is popular enough that people know him, and he has a certain number of sales like consistently every time. So writers can really take control and do whatever they want with him and experiment. Whereas with Spider-Man, he's like, no, he's the Mickey Mouse. You got to be careful. You got to protect. Like, you'll have executives upon executives like leaning in and like watching
him, but we're just going to brutally beat him down every issue, physically and emotionally,
and then make dumb stuff like he can't be with Mary Jane ever. He can't be married.
He just can't be fun or happy.
Yeah, the Parker luck, man. The Parker luck.
Man, the Parker luck could kiss my ass, man. I'm telling you that. Like, I just want my I've noticed I really just want my superheroes to be happy. I'm like, okay, get it. Like Batman could be all broody, but like Spider-Man doesn't need to be broody. Superman doesn't need to be broody. Just let them have their fun little families.
Other than Batman, because like that's how he is 24/7.
Yeah, see, like Batman, I understand. Like, okay, just. Even though, like,
he's gonna be angry like and broody,
yeah, like he has a family, kind of. But like, I like the extended family. Anyways,
what about Spawn?
Man, Spawn.
I always try to remind you, like, you've technically read and experienced Spawn. Don't forget him.
he could stay as a cool action figure. That's all he is. I know there's probably going to be a Spawn fan and be like, how dare you? I'm like, listen, I tried. I'll try one more time. But I read like 2 volumes of the comics, and I actually owned them. I watched the animated series, and I read the freaking manga. I read the manga for Spawn.
There's a manga for Spawn? I didn't know.
I thought I told you about this. I even made a whole video on it. Oh, see, you're not real. Punch fan.
Maybe I forgot. I don't know, as I don't give 2 shits about Spawn. So.
I mean, it was to be fair, it was towards the end of that video. Like, it just felt like a 80s OVA, but like not the one of the more memorable ones. It's like, oh, it's cool action, and sexy ladies and demons, and then like that's it. But like not that much else to like take away from it. That's what eventually. That's how that Spawn manga felt. Yeah, there's a lot of superhero manga out there that are slowly getting translated, which is pretty cool because it always is interesting to see different writers that normally don't work in comic books, write for these characters. Even though a lot of them are pretty mid, but occasionally you'll get like some interesting Spider-Man manga, like Spider-Man Red, or no, not Spider-Man Red.
Fake Red.
Yeah, Fake Red.
Yeah, I really need to. I've heard a lot of good things about that. I really need to read that.
It got canceled way too soon, but it was really good. And
I want to read that. I want to read Deadpool Samurai, but like where I am in my X-Men reading, I haven't reached that point yet. So I'm like, I'll wait. Because I
can't. But
I know, but like I want to experience the Marvel universe and the DC universe sort of like naturally like unfolding on itself. Like obviously I'm gonna But like like once I pick a starting point, I want to chronologically go through it. Like
Yeah.
So like with X-Men, like Deadpool doesn't exist yet. So I'm like, I want to wait, and then I want to read some Deadpool runs to get the character, like the Joe Kelly run, or and Daniel
I
Way
have
run
like
and all that
8
stuff.
volumes of the Deadpool classic runs that like I got
Yeah,
through like birthdays and everything.
yeah.
Um and like for some reason I just have no interest to go back to Deadpool. I don't know. I feel
That,
like he was like that character that was really cool when you're in your teens, and as you grow up it's like
Mhm.
he's a
I'm still
character.
interested because I'm one of the few I find Deadpool's humor funny. I know a lot of people find it annoying. Shaheen found it annoying when you read Deadpool Samurai, but I don't know why I like it. It works for
But
me.
see, it was fine in Samurai. Samurai was fine.
Oh, you
It
hate
was
it? Okay, you told me you hated it. Like you were finding really
no, Samurai was actually pretty good. It was like a
Oh,
good use of
okay.
the character. No,
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't like the Daniel Way run.
Oh,
I
right,
read a
okay.
volume of that and I
Yeah.
didn't like it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I don't like him. Like I'm fine with him being jokey because obviously in Samurai he's pretty jokey, but like I
Mhm.
don't know, maybe it's because I'm more used to like the Joe Kelly run where
Mhm.
he was like more of a character, but he would make jokes on the side too.
Mhm.
But he was also still a very deeply fucked up character. Um, I enjoyed that, but I just don't want him to be like a walking meme machine.
Right,
You
that's what
know,
he's turned into now because of
unfortunately,
like social media and the fourth wall stuff. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Which again, there's ways you could do it, but like when just becomes a personality trait, kind of like what they were trying to do with Harley Quinn for a while.
Mhm.
Um, it's like that's kind of not necessary. I feel like we've kind of passed that era, but who knows?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, now let's kick off to the anime club.
Right. Here's what you did. This is the main event, folks.
Here's the origin stories. Okay, so at my university,
Shaheen was bitten by a spider.
oh yeah,
Anime spider.
I was bitten by like a Japanese weeb spider.
Weeb spider.
Injected its weeb venom into me. I became like just a toxic weeb. No, so I remember like my university experience. Like I had my friends at university, but like kind of as soon as university ended, I just went straight home. Like I didn't really hang out with friends or anything like that. I just like went straight home. And like I had my friends, but like um see, I guess a little bit more backstory. Where I went to school, it was in a place called Knowledge Village, which in Dubai is like just universities right next to each other. So I went to one university, made a lot of friends there, but I didn't really like that university. Like I didn't like the way they were teaching and everything. So
Yeah, that was my university, the one I
yeah,
graduated from.
yeah. So, and actually, I didn't even meet you when I was studying there. I
Yeah, I
met you
met
when
you
I actually
after.
transferred.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I transferred over to the university right next door. And like when I say
Mhm.
right next door, I'm like literally like a stone's throw away.
Mhm.
They're universities, but honestly, they kind of felt like glorified high schools. In terms of like utilities and everything like that. It wasn't like, we had this grand library that had like the little, ladder that goes up and down, like what you see in movies. And it wasn't like that. Our library, like I think I've seen elementary school libraries like bigger than what we had. Anyways, so I moved over to another university. I still hung out with my friends from the previous university, but like our hours were kind of mixed up in the first year. So I didn't really see them that much. And then the friends I was making in that new university were like all people I had in my class, but they were all like extreme normies. Um, and like one of them liked superheroes, but it was just the movies, not even like cartoons or anything like that. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'm on my way to be a normie, but like at that time, I was making anime YouTube videos and I was a big anime guy and all that. So it was kind of like hard. And then I found out about the clubs and I'm like, you know what? Let me join a club. So I was like looking through the clubs and like a lot of them were like, drama club, a lot of different sports clubs. I'm like, not really interested. There was a baking club, which I do bake on the side. At the time I did, not so much anymore these days, but like, I don't really want to join a baking club because we didn't have the utilities. Our baking club, because I later joined them, FYI, our baking club, you just bake things at home and bring them over to the university for events. You're kind of being used.
Oh, wow, that sucks.
Our baking club was like free labor for the university.
Oh, that
And
sucks.
sometimes they made us pay out of our own pocket to bake things for the university. Like I had to like fight one of the people in the office that actually get paid for, like, not paid but reimbursed for the thing they kind of ordered me to bake for them.
Oh, jeez, that is horrible.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I found out there's this club called Club Sci-Fix. And I'm like, that's a weird name. Is it like a sci-fi club? I'm like, I guess it's kind of nerdy. But I was like looking at the description, and it's like, yeah, come join Club Sci-Fix. We talk about anime and Japanese culture. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't like that name doesn't match that description, but oh boy, anime and Japanese culture. Sugoi desu. Okay. So I hit up the Facebook page for that club. I join. I'm put into a WhatsApp group. Apparently they never had a meeting yet, even though it was like the middle of the school year or university year.
Oh, so
whatever.
you formed, it wasn't like an established club.
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Which normally doesn't happen because like clubs, normally in our university, clubs have to be established from the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But the club president had connections with our like student activities coordinator, who was a total bitch, and that will definitely come up in later in the chapter. But yeah, total bitch. Had her preferences for people, so that's how that happened. So I go into one of the classrooms because that's where most of the clubs are held. So I go to one of the classrooms, sit down. I'm there early. Slowly, fellow weebs start coming in, meet the president, and we're just going back and forth talking about anime for a bit. Of course, I was the odd one out because everyone's like, yeah, I'm into Sword Art Online. Oh, I'm into Fairy Tail. Oh, I'm into Naruto. And I'm like, yeah, I'm into like Kaneko Man and Fist of the North Star.
Like even amongst weebs, you were like everyone was a normie except you.
Yeah, even amongst the weebs, I was looked down upon. Like, what are you, a fucking weeb? I'm like, I guess I am. Oh, and then like the president had like the spiciest takes because where she didn't like One Piece. She's like, oh, One Piece is stupid. They get their powers from fruit. Naruto's so much better. And then like I was talking to her about Naruto. She's like, yeah, but part 1 Naruto sucks. It's boring, but I love Naruto. I'm like, okay, you love Naruto. You claim it's your favorite anime, but like the first like 100 episodes you thought sucked. Why did you bother staying around?
To be fair, there are people like that. Like a friend of ours, like a mutual friend of ours, Sultan. He watched Game of Thrones purely because because it was a popular show, everybody was talking about it, just so he could argue with people and tell them how it sucked and why it sucked. Because, like, obviously he needed like details from the show to complain.
Yeah, this was before the season finale, so like,
yeah, he hated the show from the beginning, way before season 7, 6, whatever, like problems. From the beginning he hated it.
Yeah. So true hater. Very, very miserable way to live, but
even at that point I'm like, you should just like let it go. Like, why do you like no I need to argue with people? I'm like, okay man,
I'm like, dude, that's like if you're watching, like, isn't it an average episode of Game of Thrones like an hour long?
Yeah, an hour long, exactly.
Yeah, that's like hours of your life wasted just to argue with people. It's like, bro, at that point just become a content creator and get some views off of that shit. He's just doing this for free. Like, come on. At least make a video essay, like be ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I think it's just because everybody was talking about it around him, because obviously everybody was into Game of Thrones at the time, and he was just sick and tired. And maybe because he wanted to participate, but like, no, I'm going to participate in my way by hating on it and pointing out specific things that are wrong. Because you can't do that without watching the show. So, yeah, I mean, that was him. He was committed. I was like,
yeah, he was in the old version of the Punchcast. I think he might have talked about that in like one of the earlier episodes he was in.
Oh, really?
He was salty,
okay.
Yeah, he was Salty Sully, as he wanted to be called on the Punchcast. But yeah. So, anyways, we're talking. A lot of them are kind of normies and everything. And then I met this one guy. I don't really want to say his name. We'll just call him T. So I met T, Mr. T over here, and he was the only one I kind of made a connection with. So we exchanged phone numbers. We didn't really like. We're both in the same university, but he was like in a different. He was studying for a different degree. I think he was studying for like computer science. Mm-hmm. So he was like in his own section of the building, and his hours were really different from mine. So I didn't really see him that much around university. So we were mainly talking back and forth through like WhatsApp or Facebook at the time. And then we're kind of waiting around for like another meeting. And like the president kept on being like, "Oh, I'm too busy. I'm studying." Because like she was like in her final year at the university, which is like, why would you start a club for like 6 months and then leave? Not even 6 months, 3 months and then leave. It was weird. I mean, I think they had one more event where they like were trying to teach everyone how to write their names in Japanese, but that was before I even knew the club existed, I think. So we had our second meeting, which again, this is an anime club called Club Sci-Fix. Do you want to know what our second meeting was?
Oh god.
We went to go see the Deadpool movie at a mall.
That's not anime or Japanese culture.
Yeah. I mean, he uses a katana. Like, I don't know. So we saw the Deadpool movie, which, you know, if you're trying to get to know a group of people, going to a movie isn't exactly the best way of doing it. But, you know, I talked to some people, not about anime. We were just talking. I'm like, oh, this club kind of sucks. And I feel like I can't really talk that much about anime because then I overwhelm them. Because I'm such a massive weeb that like, and watch things that people are like, why would you watch something made in the 80s? I'm like, damn, this really hurts. Maybe I should not meet my fellow weebs.
Everyone listening to this podcast is like shaking their head like, what the fuck kind of people are these?
Yeah, I mean, even when I take over the club, it's still like that, but at least I kind of force my ways upon them for the better. Anyways, so then we have our third meeting, which again, we meet in a classroom. Everyone's talking. Once again, I'm freaking out people by, you know, talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because for some reason I think JoJo was popular at the time, but these people are that much of a normie where even JoJo's too bizarre.
Because yeah, for me, like the friend group that we were a part of that was like more into anime than, well, pretty decently into anime, they would talk about JoJo every fucking day to the point where I'm like, okay, I guess I have to watch this show so I can like know what's going on. Then eventually I end up liking JoJo for what it is, but it took me a while because like JoJo was like constantly nonstop talked about in our friend group. So it's really weird hearing about your early days where like even JoJo's like, what the fuck is that? That looks so weird.
Yeah. So I'm just like, okay. And I think at the time, I'm trying to think, I think part 4 might have been out by that time. I'm not too sure, but so I'm like, we're pretty well into the, like, you know, the JoJo hype train. So I'm like, wow, okay, not even JoJo takers. I did meet one guy and I never met him again, but he was actually into Fist of the North Star and Toriko, which was I liked at the time. And I'm like, oh, cool, I finally met like a fellow individual like me.
Yeah, a kindred spirit.
Yeah, a kindred spirit. But I had to like leave that meeting early because I had a class and I couldn't skip it because my attendance was pretty low in that class. So I'm like, shit, bye, peace out. So I left and I didn't get that guy's number. And I was desperately, when I eventually took over, I was hoping I would meet that guy again. Never did. I'm like, damn it.
Oh,
I never got to meet that guy. I don't even remember his name. I'm like, damn, we could have been friends. Anyways. So the summer happens. I meet up with T, that I met from the club. We go to like the Dubai Comic-Con together, which was boring as shit. It sucked. But you know, at least I got to know him a bit more, and it was all good. I'm like, yeah, we can't wait for the next year. Hopefully, you know, we'll do more activities, and we're like all hyped for that. Then, like, as summer vacation goes around, I meet T a couple more times. He comes over to my house. We hang out. We talk about anime. I think I was telling him about tokusatsu because that's when I was starting to get into tokusatsu that summer.
Oh, you got into toku early. Shit.
Yeah.
I thought it was the last 2 years in the university thing.
I mean, around that time, it kind of was around that time. It was the summer. I guess it was a year before that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was a year before that. Mm-hmm. I still didn't know you at this time.
Yeah.
A couple more months, and I'm like, yeah, you know, me and this guy, we'll make a podcast together.
Which, by the way, I'll tell you what my first impression was of Shaheen when we get there. But like,
oh, okay, yeah, we're working our way up.
Yeah.
So we meet a couple times in the summer, and then for our university, like a little bit before the year starts, we had like, actually, I don't know why, but a couple, like, they kind of wanted us to come before the next semester started. I think I had to sign some kind of paper and leave, but I met T there, and we're talking, and he's like, "Oh, hey, the girl that was in charge of the club, she left, and she was looking for a new president, so I decided to step up, and I'm the president." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And I'm like thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, "Oh, thank God he took it. I definitely don't want to take that. I don't want to be known as King Weeb." So I told him, I'm like, "Hey, man, I'll help you out on the side. If you need help, like, I don't mind helping out and everything. I could be like your secret, like, vice president." He's like, "Oh, cool, man." Because a lot of the people that are in their club at the time, I guess a lot of them graduated. So, like, the club only had like 4 people. But then T found out there was more fellow anime fans that just didn't know this club existed because it was called Club Sci-Fix. And if you don't read the description, you just think it's a club full of like Trekkies or something. It's like, what the fuck does Sci-Fix mean?
I'll be like, oh, Star Wars, Star Trek, I don't know, Battlestar Galactica, like any sci-fi show would be like,
yeah, or just sci-fi movies, because like flicks could be also like a movie thing. So it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? So we go up to the like student activities coordinator, and like apparently in the beginning of the year you have to write out like a plan of what your club's going to do to like establish it, because apparently we're supposed to get a club budget, but the fucking university never gave me money at the time I was there. Anyways, so we were telling them, because we didn't know much about this, like the girl literally told T, like, "Hey, just tell her you're going to be in charge of the club." And so we tell her, like, "Hey, the previous president told T to become the new club leader. What do we need to do?" She's like, "Where's your plan?" And we're like, "What?" She's like, "You need a plan telling me what you're going to do from the year, how many people you already have, and blah, blah, blah. Like, what are you going to do for me? I can't just make you a club and give you money for no reason." Like, she kind of like shitting on us. And it's like, I don't even get, you're all adults and you're watching these cartoons. Like, I don't get it. Like, how is that going to attract people? It's all weird. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, she's a bitch. Trust me. Like, I think I talked about last podcast. I've never wished physical harm upon anyone in my life until I met this lady. Like, she's the type of person I hope gets like a piano dropped on her, like on some Looney Tune shit. Like, absolute bitch. Racist, bigotry, all the negative stuff in the person. Just terrible person.
Yeah. When we were in university, Shaheen would nonstop complain about her and the dumb decisions she was making.
She made a couple of my friends cry. That's how bad she was. So yeah, she made my friends cry. She called my club a group of hooligans, despite us being the most successful club at the university at the time. We were like 100 people strong. I think she just didn't like us because we didn't do anything for the university. We're just a club of people hanging out. And again, it's not like we were taking money from the university. They never gave us a budget. We never really, like, besides, like, we had like a 4-panel comic competition. But I think even then we didn't take papers from like the university. Like, I think we sent everyone a PDF, and then they just, if they were going to participate in the competition, they just had to print out like the template for the 4-panel. Yeah. So even then, it's like we didn't. I don't know. The lady was just a dumb bitch. I hate her. Anyway, so T was kind of like distraught. Like, after that, he's like, "Shit, we just got roasted for no reason." I'm like, "Yeah, like, holy shit." So we eventually found, because like I think she wanted us to have like 10 members or something. So we found those 10 members, and we had to we wrote a plan of shit we were going to do. Like, oh yeah, we're maybe we'll watch anime together, discuss things. But she wanted us to do things that were for the university, so we kind of bullshitted. We're like, "Yeah, we'll do like a 4-panel comic competition, and we'll do like an origami event, or like Japanese culture stuff. We'll do all that." Besides the 4-panel comic event, we never really did anything else. Yeah. Most of it was just fluff to like get her off her ass. So we make the plan, and then we try to meet this director lady, and she's just constantly busy. Like, can't find her. I would sometimes wait outside her office, and then she's like, "I'm too busy. I can't talk to you guys." I'm like, fuck. So first week of the semester kind of passes. And again, like I mentioned, T is studying computer science. So his hours, like, I think for the computer science at the time, their lectures didn't start till like in the afternoon. Whereas for me in business, we had like classes from like the afternoon, like morning till afternoon. It was like our schedule was a lot more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
And like T didn't want to come in early to university. So I kind of just waited with the plan, and I went up to her and like I finally tracked her down one day. I'm like, here's the plan for the club, because like at that point we had our WhatsApp group and a lot of people really wanted this club to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I really wanted to make some anime friends. That way I don't have to pretend like I know about cars when I'm talking to my normie friends.
I've been there, yes.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, this car, and like they're saying like all these things. I'm like, dude, it just has wheels and looks nice, cool thing, man. Like, tell me when a hot anime girl's in it, then we'll chat, or Riding Bean or something. I don't know. So,
or Eurobeat is playing in the background.
Yeah, or Eurobeat, like give me some drifting or something. So I go in, I confront this student activity coordinator. We'll call her D and T.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I see Miss D. I'm like, listen here, you bitch. Here's the plan. So I give her the plan, and she's like, great, you're the club president, right? I'm like, no. She's like, you're the only one here. I'm like, shit. He's like, yeah, see, you're showing initiative here. You're the one that came up with the plan, which I technically did. I came up with most of the ideas. She's like, you're the one here. You're the one that's been waiting outside my office. I don't even see the other guy. I don't even know if he exists, which is kind of not true. She's seen him in the past. But
yeah,
she's like, I don't
meeting.
even know this. Yeah, first meeting. Yeah. So it was like, I don't even know this guy exists. So you're the president. I'm like, oh, okay. So I had a very awkward conversation where I messaged him on WhatsApp. I'm like, hey, the club's official. He's like, great. I'm the president. He's like, oh, because like, I think he wanted to be the president because apparently if you're a president of the club, you get like credits or something. But I don't think that, I didn't notice any credits established on, any writing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got like a little award at the end of the year for being a president, because at the end of the year we have like this club president party. But it was a bunch of bullshit anyways. So I became the president. We had our club. Our first club meeting went really well. I was trying so hard for this thing. I made a fucking PowerPoint. And we were the Annie Club. I didn't want to say anime club because I'm like, oh, it's animation. We're into animation. That way, hopefully, it could be a little bit more broader. Some people thought it was stupid, but I thought it was cool. And it was easier to fit Annie Club into a badge rather than anime clubs. Like I was thinking, I was studying business. So yeah, I met my fellow weebs. A couple of them will later turn out to like be really close friends of mine. First meeting goes kind of well. I have like an army of weebs on my side. Someone says I look like an anime fan, so like I don't know what that means. If that's like does that have a negative connotation or not?
You could smell the weeb off you. You could smell.
I mean, I shower, so I don't know. He's like, you just look like a weeb. I'm like, I don't know how to take that, but okay. So
is that a compliment or an insult? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a compliment, insult, because you're in the anime club too, and you show up pretty consistently. Because we had like weekly meetings, and like eventually the club became so popular, we had like 2 meetings a week, and we were like, since we had so many people who weren't even into anime were starting to join the club just so they can make friends. Which kind of got annoying because there's this one guy that every time I show an anime, he's like, oh, this is cringe. Like, why are you here, man? It's an anime club. I'm trying to show anime. He found out he was a Ben 10 fan. I'm like, listen, I like Ben 10 too. When I was 10 years old, Ben 10 was my homie. Enjoy some anime. You're not that high above us. But,
and then you dropped the bombshell that those transformation sequences. Yeah, Sailor Moon did that first, so then they took it from that.
Actually, did you know Way Big is based off the Tokusatsu hero and Japanese classic Ultraman? I bet you didn't know that, big guy.
I just realized that myself right now. But when you said it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, just giant big ass alien. I'm like, oh, no, it could be Ultraman.
No, he's most definitely Ultraman.
Okay,
that's an Ultraman if I've ever seen one. So like, club was doing really good in the first year. I met a bunch of friends. Light backstabbing, but not too much. A couple people I thought were.
But did you meet like how was everybody's anime tastes when you were still making? Like, still like the shallow normie level, or like a bit deeper?
There was a couple of them. There was a lot of like hardcore yaoi fans, so like I had no relation to them, and then not
So
no no
you met the
relation, but
Fujoshis pretty early.
yeah, the Fujoshis. Yeah, not that I didn't have no relation to them, but like I couldn't really connect with some of the things they were into because I'm like, I don't know that much about yaoi, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then let's see, I met a couple One Piece fans. The first batch of club people were actually a little bit more open-minded. Not open-minded, but their taste was a little bit more diverse when compared to the second year of people I got for the club. Because the club was still like we got a lot of people, but it wasn't as big as it would become in the second year. So there was one guy that was into Kamen Rider and Lupin the Third, but he turned out to be like a massive piece of shit. So like that was unfortunate. I'm like, damn, in another universe, we could have been friends. Like, unfortunately, you're a piece of shit. And guess what? He was very close and tightly connected to the student counselor D. So I'm like, of course, they're perfect for each other. But anyways, me and T are managing the club, but like I've noticed I've been putting in a lot of the work. T wasn't really helping me out. I felt like a single mom here. Or like I'll come up with an idea, and I always ran ideas by him. Because, you know, he was the vice president. And then also I still kind of felt bad that I technically just took the position away from him. So every time I would come up with an idea, he'd always have to argue with me on it. Like, oh, I don't think we should do this. I'm like, why? And then like he would just waste my time because like I would try to do something. We'll talk it out for like a day and a half. And then finally I will do it. And so yeah, like eventually he left. He was he just got too busy. He had to go on a redemption arc. He shaved his head and kind of fucked off for a bit.
Okay, all right. That was not.
He just disappeared. Like we were kind of friends, but then he had a lot of personal things going on, so he kind of left. What
sort of things was he arguing about you? Like about what is he arguing?
Just like the structure of the club and things we're going to do. If we're going to, how much do we want to cater to the K-pop people? What will we do for movie events? Even like the whole, because we had this thing called Youth Fest in which we had to come up with like competitions to do for like a week for this thing. Like every club did something. So for us, that's when I did the whole 4-panel comic competition, which was pretty good. And he didn't want to do that. He's like, oh no, like I don't think everyone, like we have that many good artists. I'm like, it doesn't matter as long as they just come up with a story. My dude, One Punch Man became like one of the hottest sensations. And have you seen One's artwork? I'm like, as long as there's a good enough story to tell.
Also, it's a 4 comma. So like as long as you like set up the joke, hit the punchline, land, you're good. Like
yeah. And I told everyone like it could be Stickman. I don't care. Just be creative and do a funny joke. That's I just want you to be creative.
Yeah.
That is all I want from you. Like I couldn't be like a panel judge because it could be biased because you were club members. Well, some of them were because like Youth Fest was open to everyone, but most of the people that were doing the competition were in my club, which is funny because my club was almost like a mafia. We had like ties to every other club. We had ties to the drama club. We had ties to the art club. We had ties to the music club. We had ties to the baking club. I was just kind of like everywhere. So like most of the times when we did big events, we managed to pull in a good amount of people. So anyways, second year comes in. Massive wave of people, whole bunch of people start coming in, and that's when we get a lot of the normies that are like, Hero Academia. I just rewatched that like 5 times. Instead of watching something new, Dragon Ball. It was funny because the first year, the most common anime everyone said was their favorite was Death Note.
Yeah, you told me about that. I remember.
Second year, the most common anime was like Code Geass and Hero Academia. Now those 2 were the most common, and Tokyo Ghoul. Those were like 3. And then like it was harder to find the One Piece fans, which I'm still surprised because like I 2 giant sessions of anime club people and there was not that many people into One Piece. I'm like, damn, the one popular show I could actually like gush about.
Maybe now with the live action Netflix series.
Oh boy, yeah, I'm sure that will convince so many people to get into like 1,000+ chapter series. I'm so confident that someone's going to watch one episode and be like, "Wow, that's amazing! I'm just going to go to my local bookstore or Amazon, and just buy all of One Piece or read it all on Viz." I'm sure that's what's the outcome is going to be like. Anyways, so we have this club. It's going well. There's some drama. People start forming their own groups within the club, which at first I'm like, oh, that's cool that everyone's making friends. But then some of these people were like backstabbing other members. I would get involved and then I would be backstabbed. And people thought I was just too nice. Literally, the Superman said, he can't be that nice. He's actually an asshole. I'm like, no,
wow.
So I know what Superman goes through.
You can personally relate.
I could personally relate to Superman. No one could be that nice. And like, it's always hard to say like, I'm a nice guy. I'm like, I'd like to treat people nicely. At the end of the day, I don't like putting down people. I guess I put down one guy because this one guy's like, yeah, let's watch this black and white movie from like the 40s for the anime club. And I told him no.
No, that's
and
not
what that guy went to like turn that whole story into me just being an asshole who like rules the club like with an iron fist. I'm like, anime club, a black and white movie from Alfred Hitchcock.
You should then make a movie club if you want to do that, because it would make sense over there. But like, not a.
We had a movie club. They were dead.
Okay, he can take over that club and he can start that up again or something. Like, yeah.
You know what? Exactly. But yeah, just I was too nice and it was easy to like put blame on. Then we had this one girl who were going to make vice president. She left. A lot of people really liked her, so they kind of joined her and they kind of formed like a group where they all just hated me. Apparently, for some reason.
I like all of this is happening in an anime club of all places. Like, it's just like the stakes are so low.
When I eventually had to leave because I was doing my master's and I was doing my master's at the same university, I'm like, I don't really have time for the club anymore. Plus, I think they would have let me, but I'm like, I don't think a master's person should be, in charge of a club.
Yeah.
So I
tried leaving undergrad. It. I agree.
Yeah.
It should be an undergrad.
Yeah. So I left it to a guy who at the time I kind of trusted, but he didn't really have that much of a backbone. So as soon as I made him the new president, the girl that made that kind of like personal clique group of me, of hating me, she came to him and was like, let me take over the club. And when she took over the club immediately turned into like a K-pop club with like anime on the side. And anime slowly fizzled out. And apparently, according to you and one of our other friends, she had a whole meeting where she took everyone's phone and they chat, like they were just shit-talking me for a whole club meeting. And I'm like, there's a handful of those people that don't even know who I am. And I remember sometimes when I'd be going to the food court, there'd be people being like, dude, the anime club's changed so much. Like, you need to come back. Like, please. Like, I felt like the hero that just killed the Demon King and went to go retired. And then, like, turns like, no, he's still alive. You got to come back, hero. But I'm like, I'm not. I'm kind of busy doing another thing right now. The hero's trying to become a businessman. But, yeah, so it's just really weird. And there's a couple of the newer people that meet me. It's like, oh, I thought you'd be like different, but you're actually pretty cool. And like, once again, I'm not sure if that's like a backhanded insult. I'm like, thanks.
No, I think that's just them realizing that how much misinformation and lies they were told. Like,
yeah, it was, it's really weird.
Pretty sure, like, whoever the new anime club president was, or the shadow president, whatever, the one who was making you like talk shit about you, she probably told them things about you, and so when they met you, they're like, okay, none of that holds up any water at all. Like, it's
yeah, I mean, that club unfortunately kind of, because I was following them on Instagram for a bit when I left and I moved back to US. Eventually I kind of unfollowed them because I'm like, I'm way past university now, so like I don't really think I should be looking back at how my old club used to be going. But like it fully transitioned into like a K-pop club.
Did they
which is
change the
kind of.
name, or is it still called Anime Club, or they just changed it to
I think
K-pop?
it became like the Japanese and Korean Culture Club.
Ah, okay. Mm.
And then
Mm.
eventually it just became more of a Korean pop culture club, but more emphasis on which is so funny because I remember our university was like a British university in Dubai. And I remember when I was trying to think of plans of what to do, I remembered like, oh yeah, we have like the actual like London location. So I looked them up on Facebook and I contacted their president. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to make like a version of your club over here. Like, do you have any ideas?
Mm-hmm.
You want to know the first thing he told me?
Oh.
He was like, do not interact with the K-pop club. They will take over.
Wow. Oh, he was like 9
was,
steps ahead. Oh,
well, because he said that they had a Christmas party. They invited the K-pop club to come in because, you know, there's some crossover.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Most likely, if you're into K-pop, you're kind of into anime. Not entirely 100% true, but there is like a little crossover right there. Like, you know, if you're into like trading cards, you might be into like anime. It's kind of like that crossover. So anyways, apparently the K-pop people just completely took over the club, and the anime club people were just pushed into a corner for their own party they hosted. So he was telling me that. I'm like, oh, okay, yikes. But when I had like the first batch of people in anime club, a lot of them were into K-pop. And then like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh shit, what do they take over? And they kept on asking me, because I think we had a movie screening, and I did show a Korean movie. I usually make polls. So I'm like, I had like 3 anime movies plus a Korean movie. Of course, the Korean movie took over. But it was like Train to Busan.
Interesting. Wow, I didn't know. Damn, they're really like popular and vicious, I guess, these Korean fans.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure if you have seen some of the discourse on like Twitter, but yeah, K-pop fans could be pretty bloodthirsty when agitated.
No, but like, yeah, okay, all right, sure. I guess like it's just so like, but for the movie poll, I didn't know they would have much of a stake in it because it's a movie poll. But like they're like, no, Train to Busan, Korea. Oh no, it's going to go right up. We're going to vote like I don't know 100 times on this, so we can just like.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to. I don't remember exactly. Like I think I put like a Ghibli movie.
Mm-hmm.
One other anime movie. I think it might have been like a Makoto Shinkai movie. Mm-hmm. Then there's like a Korean animated movie I heard of. I'm like, hey, they like Korean stuff. It's an anime movie, works crossover. And then Train to Busan because like a couple members highly recommended that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the Korean animated movie had like no votes. I'm like, okay, you guys just care about Korean actors and music. You don't really care about their animation.
Yeah.
Okay. But like overall, I had a fun time. It sucks that I was like backstabbed so many times, but also it helped me see like other anime fans, but unfortunately not the anime fans I was used to encountering on my YouTube channel that I had around the time.
Did the K-pop people care about manhwa or no?
You know what? No one ever talked about manhwa. In fact, I barely know anyone's manga take. Like I know T, he was more of a manga guy, but he was more into like seinen and romances and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So even at that time, I'm like, I just want dumb shonen. So like, can't really relate with you there. So it was hard to find an anime fan of similar taste to me, and I guess it still is. Like I have to turn people I know into that. I can't. You know, I'm like a vampire. I got to make more of my species. Got to infect people. Which is funny because even though you had a very bad experience with Anime Club in your university, since I used to hang out at your university a lot, you guys had better anime fans at your university.
True.
Your anime fans were like more diverse with their taste, not as toxic.
But they were just that lack of. I mean, maybe there's like more introverts. It's like no, I'll watch anime by myself. Fuck, like doing it as a community level thing. So that's why, like, I've just faced apathy. That was the thing I was trying to fight. Like, no, I need you to care and come. Like I was really.
Only we could have just combined universities for the club's sake.
Like for example, I just wanted to be more than just a screening. I wanted to be like, hey, before I show like like a mecha anime like Gundam. Let's go through the history of mecha anime. I'll show like Gigak's video, for example, of like on the history of mecha anime. It's like you learned something as well. Like I was like really coming up with these ideas.
I really wanted to do something like that, and that was something like the T was like, no. And like I was like, I'm going to do it anyways, but like no one had interest. I'm like, y'all suck. So I would bring like on a USB, I would bring like a bunch of anime I downloaded, and we'd vote on like 2 or 3 of them to watch. And like I put a mixture. I put like seasonal stuff, some certified classics that maybe not everyone's seen, and then I put in like a couple things that I am really like some Maz and Kaiser SKL or some Getter Robo or Silver Fang or something in there. Those usually lost a lot of the votes. But then after that, we'd have a discussion. And I remember, like, through that, I got a lot of other people into anime series they didn't know about, like, Samurai Champloo, Konosuba, Daily Life of High School Boys, for some people, JoJo, and a couple other animes. But, yeah, overall, like, it was fun. It's just, oh, man, like we discussed in previous podcasts, lots of hot takes for someone like me. I'm still not over the guy that looked at Trigun and Mob Psycho and be like, Rosario plus Vampire is better. that still haunts me to this day. I awake at sleep at night being like, damn.
I mean, I am fascinated by the opinions of normies because I falsely because you and I, we live in a little bit of a bubble on what's good, what's bad, what's classic, what's not, and stuff. So just to step outside that bubble and be like, oh, what is a normie thing who just watches an anime once in a while and doesn't really think about it much and then move on with his life. Probably we like to not as much as an anime scholar, I guess, but we like to study and analyze things a little bit, right? But again, hot takes, like you said, the Rosario Vampire guy, or my cousin who was like, oh yeah, the first 10 minutes of Spider-Verse was boring, so I closed it. I'm like, how could it have been boring? How? I'm trying to think about it every which way, and it's like, how is it boring?
I don't know. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but occasionally I would just hear things reasonings for not wanting to rewatch something because this piece of media is just that good. I'm like, but how do you know everything else? What about the things that inspired that thing you liked, or the things that have been inspired by that thing already, newer things? It's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's something that makes sense to you and me. Oh, this was inspired by that. Oh, let me try to see that thing, or what it inspired later on. Because we dig deeper. You and I are the type of people that would watch, I don't know, Mother's Basement or Gigug or a video essay, or when Digibro did those things and stuff. But these people are nah, I saw the entertainment I needed. It made the last, I don't know how many hours fun and enjoyable, but now I go back to reality and that's it. That's how they issue, which is fine. I'm not saying that's invalid or bad. I'm hey, entertainment is what you do with it. Fine. But still, it's interesting because I can never live my life like that. To me, it's no. I need to analyze this and study this and enjoy it, of course. But also,
I'm not obviously if you watch my videos, I'm not the most analytical person, but at the same time, I like seeing what inspired
digging deeper. This mangaka made this manga. What else did you make? I want to read those too as well.
And sometimes they're not even mangaka. I like this director or writer, and just follow the other thing. Even voice actors. If you just follow a voice actor, you could get a lot of interesting stuff too.
Yeah, but see, most people won't do that. Even right now, I guarantee you, people from the anime club, your anime club, if they're reading Chainsaw Man right now, none of them, I guarantee you, out of let's say 20, one person might know Fire Punch. The rest don't even know Fire Punch exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then also, I think until I met you, I didn't really know anyone that actually watched anime YouTube.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess I was the only one. True.
I'm wow, someone that's into someone that watches anime that actually watches people on YouTube talk about anime, which I'm a part of.
Yeah. Oh, which by the way, I should get into what my first impression of you was. So we had a mutual friend named Raheem. I think he's been on the podcast and you've done videos of him, right?
Yeah, we've done collabs.
That's what his name.
Hexbeard, Old Man Romlu. The man has gone under many identities.
So I was friends with him. Then he invited me to the food court one day. Oh, I'm hanging out with my friend Shaheen, you should come too. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go there. I'm pretty much silent throughout the whole conversation because it was mostly Raheem and Shaheen talking and catching up. You weren't talking about anime. You were talking about other topics. And when I found out that, oh, you're American and you're like, he's this like big guy and like, I don't know. My first impression, oh, he's just like a typical American jock guy, like probably, which is like so far from what you are. I'm like, my God, I was like, I was so wrong on that assessment.
Well, see, I don't look like an anime fan then, because to you thought I was a jock. So like, I don't know what I look like.
I don't know, like, I could so in my head imagine like, oh my God, this guy wears like varsity jackets all the time, loves like the NFL, and like I don't know, like stuff like that. I don't like that was literally my like. You probably I don't know, listen to Joe Rogan all your life or something.
Oh God.
Like that was my image. I'm like, oh, he's probably this guy. Like, I'm not gonna be friends with them. I'm never gonna. Then we met like a second time, and like Raheem invited me to like that place, that restaurant that was in our like campus.
Oh yeah, there's this place on campus called Skylar's that we always hung out in, but we stopped because they kicked us out because we were too loud. But no one else was in there, so we're like, okay, fuck your business then.
Yeah. So I got, and then you started making like anime reference. You made a hentai joke, like you said like kimochi for like as the punchline to something. I don't remember what the joke was, but you said kimochi, and I'm like, huh, okay. A jock wouldn't know that. A jock wouldn't even know what kimochi is. Yeah.
A jock wouldn't know hentai. He watches real porn.
Yeah. So then I was like, huh, maybe I got myself wrong with this guy. Now I don't know how. I think we just then.
I like how the hentai reference is like, this guy's different.
This guy hits different.
he referenced hentai.
Yeah, so then I was like, oh, maybe, and then like, yeah, and then I think I've same with you. I'm like, oh wait, this guy knows anime YouTube as well. So I think that was like a first connection. Like, oh, you know who Mother's Basement and Super Eye Patch Wolf are. He's like, oh yeah, I do. And then like, oh shit, fuck, and then yeah, like, and then I guess that I don't know what happened after that, but like we became friends.
Yeah, like even Raheem was really surprised. He's like, you guys like hit it off pretty fast. Like, yeah. It's like he understands me.
And then I remember like when you introduced me to Tokusatsu, I'm like, fuck that. Look at this Power Rangers bullshit.
Yeah,
Shane,
we talked that in the previous podcast. Yeah,
like Shane, I like you, but like, man, this is bullshit. Like, I
remember you came over to like to spend the night at my house, and like I think I made a tweet that day because I was talking to you about it. Like, oh, it looks like Power Ranger shit. And I even tweeted it out. I'm like, trying to get a friend into Tokusatsu, and he thinks it's Power Ranger shit.
And, lo and behold, like, I don't know, your propaganda from your videos worked, and now here I am watching Metalder. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, far and above most Toku fans these days too. That just watch the big three. Not that there's a problem with that, but yeah. But yeah, that's the anime club in the nutshell. There's a couple things that like when like thinking about it might be a little too personal. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of backstabbing. Miss D, the club coordinator, was just such a hater, and like she kind of liked me. Big tip for anyone in university. For some reason, it helped me a lot in university. If you just bake people cookies, they really like you for some reason. I remember for thanking her for like allowing the club to be a thing. After our first meeting, I gave her and her assistant some chocolate chip cookies I made. And after that, they really started liking me, and they were trying to goat me into being in the baking club. It's like, well, you really need someone. And like, I guess she must have talked to other people about me. Because I remember this group of girls came up to me like, oh yeah, I heard your name, Shaheen. I'm like, yeah. Are you the Shaheen that bakes? I'm like, I'm the only Shaheen I know. So like, I guess I am. So, wow, it's so cool. We don't see guys that like bake. I'm like, that's their problem, I guess. I don't. I used to bake.
That's like your street name. I'm Shaheen the baker.
I'm the one that bakes.
So I'm the one that bakes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I used to like occasionally I guess I also helped get members for the club too. That like for a couple meetings, like maybe like once or twice a month, I would like bake cookies and bring them in out of my myself. The university didn't pay me or anything like that. I just did it out of the kindness of my own heart. And yeah, I don't know, just baking cookies really helped me get to know a lot of people on top of being in charge of an anime club. So anyone in university, despite a previous podcast of me being like, yeah, fuck university. If you are in university and don't take my advice, which is probably good depending on who you are, um, yeah, join a club, maybe accidentally become president, and bake cookies. It will really help your social life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What did Miss D do? Like that irritated you so much? Because like,
I mean, she made my friends cry. Like anytime I tried to explain the club, she's like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." The one thing that was really bothered me is we had like this sponsor that was like a table games store slash comic book store, and like we knew the owner, and he was a really chill guy, and he wanted to meet Miss D to talk about like bringing over some board games for the club and prizes, and we didn't pay him. He did everything on his own. Like he was kind of our sponsor, even though we didn't really give him money. He didn't really give us money. He just provided games.
Yeah, it was advertising for him. Like, hey,
yeah, advertising. But he really wanted our club to work out too, and he was a really cool guy. It was awesome, and he sent over one of his like assistants to come over to like talk to Miss D. And this guy was pretty adamant about coming into the university. And I kept telling him like, you have to be like, studying at the university to go in. Like I haven't, because it was kind of last minute on his end. I'm like, Miss D doesn't really, but he kind of forced himself in. And like Miss D thought he was a student, but then it was revealed that he worked for the Geeky Lizard, and she got super upset. Which that I'll admit, like that's kind of understandable. A guy that technically doesn't work for or study at the university came into the university. That much I understood. What really pissed me off is she started going into a really racist angle. The guy was we're in Dubai. He was like was born and raised in Dubai, Middle Eastern. She was like Serbian and came to Dubai like a couple years ago. She's like, what if he had a bomb on him and he blew up the university? Shaheen, I can't believe this. Like, why would you let him come into that really pissed me off. Like, because he's a Middle Eastern guy with he's a local with a beard. So apparently he wants to blow up a British university. I'm like, really, bitch, fuck you. This is not even your country. Get the fuck out of here. Like, and then apparently one of our friends in the drama club told me that because for some reason she had to like look over every single drama club script and like approve it or add changes. So they were trying to do like a Christmas event. They invited Trump, not invited Trump. They made Trump a character in the play. It was supposed to be I think it was her idea, make Christmas great again.
Oh, okay. And
apparently she added a lot of input, and they had like a Miss Mexico character. And you want to know what her dialogue was that she approved and put in herself against like some of the drama club's like will?
Oh no, I'm guessing not Spanish. Oh god.
Kind of was Spanish, but her dialogue was taco 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 taco.
Oh, that's much worse than what I had.
I'm like, the fucking taquito character from Fighting Foodons was like not as racist as what this bitch just made. And then also, again, we're a university in Dubai, and I would say like 90% of the students were of Indian or Pakistani descent.
90? Oh, okay.
I would say. Yeah, I would probably say 90.
Yeah.
Around like that descent.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, like the music club, they had to make like a DJ list of music they're going to play during our week of welcome, like first week when everyone signs up for clubs and getting all into the university. She told the head of the music club, it's like, hey, if I hear a song in Arabic or Hindi or Urdu, I will fire the president.
Miss
all
D said
English
this.
songs. Yes, Miss D said this. Like, it has to be all English music. Like, bitch, we're in a country where like the language is Arabic. I mean, granted, in Dubai, if you just know English, it's pretty much all you need. But like, still, the main language, like the government language, is Arabic.
Yeah, Arabic. Yeah,
it is an Arab country. to ban Arabic music at your university for a week of welcome. Pretty fucked up, especially that we had like an International Day week where we were supposed to celebrate everyone's cultures. Kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, that's jeez.
But yeah, she did like tons of shit like that. Just really mean, nasty person. She made me bake a bunch of things for like a health day event. She said she was going to repay me, never did. She's like, "Oh, you never gave me the receipts." I'm like, "I personally handed them to you in an envelope." She's like, "How was I supposed to know the receipts were in there?" I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe because the envelope says receipts for health day."
Oh man.
It wasn't that much money. It was like $25, but I'm like, I spent not only money but time on this too to like bake all this, and you said you were going to repay me, and also that you keep on claiming you're going to give me money for my club, but you never really did. I kind of got back at her because she's like, apparently the old president had a bunch of manga that I guess could be lent to club members. That was sitting in the university like storage locker. She's like, "We don't really need this, and your club's not going to really use this, so sell it and give me back the money."
Oh,
I sold
wow.
I sold a couple of the manga volumes and just kept the money. I think I used it to like get pizza for like a couple of the club members that like hung out because we always had like after parties, which were pretty much just us wandering around our university area and just hanging out at the food court or just chilling. So I think I used it for that. So whatever, she didn't ask me again. Plus, like, I don't know, fuck that bitch. She eventually like retired from her position because apparently the job was too dramatic.
I mean, she made it dramatic. I don't think
she made it dramatic. Yeah. Like she made a couple very close friends of a couple people you even know. She made them cry by just yelling at them for like no reason. And like she would always put deadlines on people or assign budgets that made no sense. Like for our art club, she wanted our art club to decorate the entire university with $40.
Wow, really? Just like, okay, a couple of strings here, a couple of strings there, done. I guess like that's what you can get for.
Then for like the International Day events, which I did, which I think I did Mexico for both years. I did it, which I just handed out churros and Mexican hot chocolate.
You didn't do America?
No, because like we had to give some kind of food or some kind of cultural thing. I'm like, I didn't really know what to do for America.
Oh, okay.
I guess for America, like in terms of getting a bunch of food that will last for like the whole day, I'm like, I guess I could do like corn dogs and lemonade, but like, some people can't eat meat, so I'm like, I just wanted to go for something that like was a little bit more open for like anyone could eat it.
Okay.
I remember she was pissed off at me. She's like, "You barely decorated your thing. How am I supposed to know you're Mexico?" I'm like, "I don't know. I have a flag. I'm wearing a sombrero. This stand clearly says Mexico, and I spent most of my money having enough food to give to everyone. So I have churros and Mexican hot chocolate.
Why
hot chocolate isn't Mexican." I'm like, I'm not going to explain half of my culture to you. I'm actually Mexican. Or half Mexican, but still, like, I think I know a little bit more about the culture than you.
Why is she so blind to all of your like labels and shit? Like, it seems so funny.
I don't know. She was an old bitch. I mean, she needed glasses. I don't know. Fuck her with like a bag of bricks, man. Like, I just thinking about her, like, it fills me with, like, I'm about to turn into the Hulk right now. No, because I remember one time I went off after like that whole when she was yelling at me for that guy to like because he's going to blow up the university. And then also that guy, like the owner of that club, that store that was going like he provided us with so many board games and he brought all these prizes. And like one of the people in the student activity office was like, "Oh, I really like Game of Thrones." He went back to his store to get like a Funko Pop for Game of Thrones and just gave it to her for free. The guy was super nice. they both the lady that got the Funko Pop plus Miss D said that he was a big man child, and like I don't know why we keep on hanging out with him. I'm like, because he provides fun events and he's nice, and I don't know, he's trying to form a bond with a university that could be big for both of us. And every time he has a plan, you always say no to him, despite, because I think he was going to do a thing where he was going to collaborate with another university that was in the area, and they were going to do like a gaming thing, like an esports thing. And she's like, no, I don't understand gaming. I'm like,
okay, you don't understand it, but the students do, because like we're of that generation that like experiences.
Like, I'm sorry, we're not playing with sticks, you ancient bitch, but like, get with the times.
Yeah, it's like my parents, especially my mom, when they realize that like, oh, anime aren't just cartoons; it's a thing that like younger people are into. And they're like, oh, good, our son's not weird. It's like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's just... it's just whack. I really dislike that lady. Like, she was like my least favorite thing about being with the club, because I would constantly have to meet her to discuss plans. And like, she kind of liked me, but at the same time, she kind of didn't. And I don't know why. Like, I think... because I had to like have an interview with her, and she's like, "Oh, who inspires you?" I'm like, "Oh, my dad." And I told her what my dad worked. And like back when I knew her, I think my dad's like, "Oh, give her my business card and have her come over to our restaurant," because my dad was like managing a bunch of restaurants at the time. And I think she did and everything, and I think my dad comped the meal. So I guess she kind of liked me for that too. Thankfully, she didn't ask for more favors, because I'm like, "Bitch for you." But no, so like every time she would like lecture me, she's like, "What would your dad think?" I'm like, "Why are you bringing my dad? Like, my dad hates you too."
Oh, that's crossing the line. Like, I don't.
Yeah, like when she brought up my dad, I was like, "You think your dad would bring this guy to the university?" I'm like, first of all, he kind of forced his way in, so I don't know, maybe blame the fucking security guard.
Yeah,
because the security guard normally, he was like, our security guard was normally very anal about making sure everyone had a student ID before they could, like, walk in. For some reason, he just let the
our
guy...
university didn't have that. Anybody could just walk in. I don't know why.
Especially because I came in there like a lot of times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I think we discussed the last podcast. Lounge. I was on your social media when you guys unveiled the new student lounge. I was there, despite me not being... I mean, I guess technically I was like, I was an alumni. I did study there for like a year.
Alumni is when you graduate from that place. You did not graduate from our university. You just like did a year and leave.
If you looked at it, I did graduate. I did my studies and I left. Well, see, because like with Middlesex, like the university I joined, if I went from them from like year one, I would have to do like a foundations course. But since they treated my first years at the university I was previously at as a foundation year, I kind of bypassed that, and it kind of helped me graduate university a lot faster. Because I think like I graduated and got my master's degree like ahead of like some of the other friends I had at that university. But yeah, I don't know. She was amazing. There was a couple other people that were big assholes. Like there was just like I said, that one guy that was into Kamen Rider and Lupin the Third. He was very close, but I think he was only close because he was like Russian. But like I guess Russians and Serbians get along with each other. I'm not too sure on that. But like she was very soft on people with like similar descent, which wasn't that many people because, like I said, 90% of our university's demographic was like Indian or Pakistani. So yeah, she was very, I don't know, just really bitchy. I think one time she even questioned why there were so many colored people in a play. Like, why wasn't there that many white people? Which I'm like, again, our demographic is 90%. Not that there isn't lighter skinned Indians and Pakistanis, but at the same time, like, what the fuck do you want?
Like, our friend Raheem is just fucking white. Like, you would not know he's like he can probably, unless he starts talking, but like just by looks alone, he could probably pass as white.
Yeah, and like there was a couple people that thought I was Pakistani, One guy actually made me like pull out my like ID because you know your ID says your national. Well, not the nationality says anything, but he was so convinced I was from Pakistan. I'm like, no, I'm from America and like I'm Mexican Persian. He was like, no, bullshit. I'm like, why would I make such a specific lie that I'm half Persian, half Mexican, born in America? Why would I lie about that? Even taxi drivers. This is one taxi driver. I remember.
Yeah,
like,
you talked about this.
He's like, no. Your daddy is from Pakistan. I'm like, no, he's from Iran. Iran and Pakistan are friends. I'm like, yes,
but like
question mark thinking emoji like what is that? Okay, fine, your mom's Pakistani. I'm like, no, she's from Mexico. And then he stood quiet. Maybe your dad. I'm like, oh no. We're not trying to ensue that my dad cheated on someone or my mom cheated on someone to have like I guess a Pakistani passing child.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm here like, no. He's American. He's the fucking like white trash American. That's fine.
Yeah. See, like again, I have like an identity crisis. There's people that are like, oh, you're not American. Then I tell them I'm American. But like, oh yeah, but you know, your parents were X and Y, so you're not really technically American. But I'm like, no, I was born in. But yeah, but that doesn't really mean you're American. I'm like,
oh. Yeah, because for a lot of like, especially Pakistani and Indians, American just means white guy. So like, yeah, I can see.
Yeah,
trust me, I know the mentality. So
like that's why like when it comes to like race and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what am I? I'm like at the end of it, like sometimes I'm like, you know what? I am a person of Earth origin.
I am an Earthling.
I'm like, damn. Now I really know what Superman feels like because you know Superman. It's like, am I Kryptonian or am I man? Like. Damn.
Yeah, like that's the thing I really like. That's a relatable part, especially for me. Like, there's a story called Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, my favorite Superman story of all time, where like, you know, like this is how the story starts. Spaceship lands on Earth in this farm area. Spaceship opens, baby alien inside. This couple looks at it, shoots it with a shotgun.
Oh gosh!
And then it's like, what? And apparently, like, through some like some villains in the future changed history, like through misinformation and stuff, that Superman was never an alien. He was always humans, and had this decree that, you know, Earth should be humans only and no aliens allowed, and all of that. So it plays a lot on like fear mongering, misinformation and stuff. And the story itself really put a stamp on like, hey, Superman's an immigrant. And I'm like, yeah, he fucking is. Yeah, he comes from another planet, gets adopted by Earth culture, grows up in it, loves it, and identifies with it, and wants to protect it. Like, yeah, he is a fucking immigrant. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh my God, I see so passionate I get.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess I'll leave it in. I was going to cut it out, but I guess if you're so passionate for it, we'll leave it in.
So that's how passionate. Oh God, man, that was a bad cough. My eyes are watering. Shit.
Yeah, the cough was so bad it made me drink some water. Let me wet the whistle. But yeah, so that's the big anime club story. I was like thinking about, there's like a couple other things I could talk about, but I'm like, I don't think it's as interesting if you're not like personally invested into the club.
Yeah, that is just like it's just high school drama stuff, so it doesn't really.
Yeah, oh, trust me, like university, and then like my first year. My first year working really opened up my eyes, because like when I left high school, I mean, I was homeschooled, but like through the homeschooling, we had a program where we could meet other people that were also like, I went through K through 12, which was like an online homeschool. So I made some high school friends. We got into high school drama with our friend group, you know, people coming and going and drama, this, that, the other. And I remember I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait to go to university so I can leave that shit behind. Everyone's an adult. Then I joined this club and I'm like, oh my God, it's worse. Then I go to my first job and like some of these people are in their like 50s and they're trying to start beef with like a 20-year-old. It wasn't me. It was like someone else I worked with. Like everyone generally, like I kind of it's kind of like the loner. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, I'd see like older people trying to start beef with younger people. I'm like, my God, good sir, you have grandchildren. Why are you being this petty?
I guess people will be people. Like, no matter what.
That's true. That's when I came into that realization. I'm like, you know what? No one really has their shit together. Probably a bit later in life than some other people, because there's some people that are like, yeah, in middle school. I'm like, yeah, people don't have their shit together. To me, I was probably 21 when I was probably 22 when 23. I was in my early 20s when I came to that realization.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the hope in humanity kind of died. And then it got worse by 2020. When 2020 hit, I'm like, oh no, we're really that bad. I remember I was so hopeful. I remember my brother was freaking out about COVID. I still remember to this day, he was freaking about COVID. I'm like, oh, modern day science, they'll just like isolate it in China. It's not going to go anywhere.
Oh my God, how wrong you were.
A month later, chaos.
God, that's like the funniest, like, oh my God, those words did not age well.
Oh, dude, they aged like milk. I was just like, damn, I was so wrong on so many levels. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be gone. I don't know why. I guess I was overestimating like science. Not science, but like, I guess human ingenuity. I'm like, yeah, we're just going to lock down this like disease in China. It's not going to go anywhere. And it's going to be gone overnight. And then like it ate up like 3 years of everyone's life. And like it's still technically still ongoing to this day. And there's a lot of drama behind that. It became a political thing somehow.
For America, and I think also Canada as well, it became a political thing. There was a joke like, do you know Ryan George?
Yes.
So he made a video, that 90s time traveler guy. So he shows that like, hey, Canada's burning and it's turning New York orange. And so the 90s guy is like, well, why doesn't the government just tell everybody to wear masks like while they're outside? Like, why is just everybody just working like it's nothing? And then the other guy's like, I do not think that would be well received. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me, like people would have a major problem with
it. 2020 was a very depressing and eye-opening year for me. I would say I think I went through most of my life with like a childlike wonder. I would say, like, I guess because in Dubai I was pretty sheltered from a lot of the shit that was going, because like in Dubai they're very enthusiastic about keeping the country happy, so like even to the point that like I guess kind of censor the news, so like it's only the good stuff. Hey, we're the world, we have the biggest this and the world's first this, and we have a gold ATM and biggest building and is that the other, because like I feel like Dubai was kind of like the jock in the Middle East / world. It's like, oh yeah, we have a Ferrari theme park in the world's tallest building. Look how big our dick is. And we have like the world's first this, the world's biggest cheesecake factory. Like that's a thing people really need to care about. This, that, the other, with the world's first this. And flying taxis. So yeah, so like, but like, living there, I'm just so not used to seeing like all this shit on the news, which is really weird. Because like I remember when I was a kid, looking at the news outside the world, like outside of America, it's like, damn, other people don't live in America. That's terrible. It's so great to live in America. Then I move away from America. I see all the shit that's going on in America. I'm like, damn, people live in America. Then I move back to America. I'm like, damn, people still live in America. I mean, obviously I'm happy to be, there's some things I'm happy to be here, family, certain conveniences that didn't exist in Dubai. I think now some of them have come, because when we were in Dubai, we couldn't really use Amazon. Or at least we could, but not to the extent of like what we have here.
After you left, it's become like it's basically become it's everywhere now. Like but Amazon is like the number one way people shop. Can
I order like manga from Amazon in Dubai?
Probably, I'm pretty sure you could.
I am ready to move back. No,
maybe I'm not sure, because like my parents, for everything, like when I went shopping there, they're like, "Oh, we can't get it here. Okay, we'll get it on Amazon." So I'm like, if it's for like that was like for clothing and shoes.
Dude, I underrated Amazon so much, because like in Dubai we didn't have it, and it's like, oh, if it's not in the store, I guess you can't have it. So there's certain manga, like if Kinokuniya didn't have it or Borders didn't have it, I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not buying this manga. I mean, I found out there's a place called Book Depository, but like it took forever for things to be shipped out.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But anyways, when I moved to America, I'm like, oh my god, there was a time in my life before, like, man, people without Amazon are living like cavemen. I'm like, damn, things just come to your door. Shit. Like, yeah. Now, obviously, there's a couple stores and restaurants and stuff like that. And then I live in Vegas. I have like this weird nostalgia for Vegas and love for the city. Despite not smoking, gambling, drinking, or participating in any sort of strip
any of
club.
the Vegas stuff.
Yeah, any of the because see, that's the thing. People like that's a part of Vegas, but there's an entire gigantic city around it where people raise families.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot, like, you know, obviously you don't see on TV. So
Dubai has a similar image issue where like, oh, everybody's driving Ferraris and it's like all of this. I'm like, that's downtown Dubai. Like everybody else, it's like pretty normal, like middle class, lower class. Like I don't know, like we've lived through it, so like I don't know. There's no shine there. Like okay, this is the shiny part. This is the regular part. Like we know where that is. Yeah.
And obviously, because like some people now, it's like, yeah, you know, but Dubai is like blah blah blah. It's this, that, the other. Like, yeah, but like at least I generally felt safe there.
Oh, yeah, that safety is one thing.
That is one thing I definitely miss. I mean, I'm not sure how much it is in Canada, but like here, like
even in Canada, like I mean. Mississauga is still somewhat safe, but like, you know, there's shootings, stabbings, especially in Toronto in certain areas. Like, you know, a lot of dangerous
here,
places.
like when I'm driving down the Strip, which is like, you know, the place you always see when you see Las Vegas in the because I used to work there when I was working for hotels.
Yeah,
and like sometimes if someone honked behind me, I would be scared. I'm like, man, if they pull out a gun, like.
That's something I don't have to worry about here. Like, no one's going to pull out a gun here where I live. That's that. Like most of the time, like at least there are like I follow the local police on Twitter, so they give like warning signs like shooting in this area, shooting in that area, or stabbing in that area. So there is some, but like, you know, it's not this like, you know, in America you can make the assumption like anybody could have a gun at any time. That mom riding with the, you know, with the stroller with the baby in it, she could have a gun. God knows. Like, yeah,
I know. Because I remember it freaked me out first when I came back to America and I went to the dentist's office to get like a checkup.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I think it was a doctor's office.
Yeah.
There's a big sign out the door saying no guns ahead of the zone. And I remember I'm like, wait. Because again, I was living in Dubai for 10 years and when I was a kid, I wasn't really paying attention. And it probably was a big deal back in the day, but we didn't have all the social media and news outlets constantly covering the shooting. So I didn't know any better. So maybe it was always a problem. I don't know. So like, yeah, I'm like, wait, you could just, isn't that to be expected not to bring a gun in a fucking doctor? Like, what the fuck? Is it okay to bring guns? And then like, I slowly started learning more and more. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I was living in Dubai. I wasn't really paying attention to that much of like American politics. Mm-hmm. When Trump got elected, everyone was telling me, I'm like, oh. I'm like, well, right now, my president, Sheikh Mohammed. Because like, I honestly thought I was going to be staying in Dubai, but due to a lot of family things and business, because like to have a restaurant hotel in Dubai is really hard. Like competition is like
fierce. I can imagine.
Very fierce. I mean, it's fierce in America too, but like restaurants are just constantly opening and everyone just wants to go to the new thing. It's really hard for like the maintain loyalty. So my dad kind of had the foresight. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna just go back to America. And since I had no job experience or a job and I was just going to university, I'm like, you know what? I'll come do. Because the dream of immediately getting a job as soon as I exited university was not, that didn't happen. So I left.
Oh, gee, yeah. Wow, this turned into just a life podcast now.
Yeah, so you know, sometimes, you know, I mean, we got some anime, comics, and all that. Some life, I guess, some politics, if you look at it that way.
That way, yeah. Yeah. My honestly, favorite one was when we went to McDonald's in America when we were driving to the border of Canada, and it was outside of McDonald's. There was a no shirt, no service sign, and I'm like, what? Wait, people coming in naked? What the fuck is this?
I always seen that as a kid. I always wondered what it was when I think,
apparently there's some dudes that just walk around shirtless. Like I've seen that.
I think it's mostly for homeless people, for them not to enter the store.
I thought it was just like again, jock dudes that are like, I'm just gonna come at whatever the fuck, man. I don't care. I've got sick pack. Oh boy.
I remember the first time I saw it, I was next to a beach, so I'm like, oh, okay, they just don't want sandy beach dudes all over the place. But then I would see it like in places in the city. I'm like, no one walks around shirtless. Like, isn't that like expected? And then like, I think it's mostly just for homeless people. I'm not 100% sure, but even then, I've never really seen a shirtless homeless guy.
Yeah, same. It's always, I will see them with like baggy clothes and stuff, like because it gets cold. I'm pretty sure at night, so like they have layers, but like, yeah, I don't know. That was just weird to me. Yeah,
yeah. But see, that's the thing. Why I always encourage anyone that can travel. It's always good to see other countries and differences and similarities, especially similarities. I think that's very important because there's a lot of like, us versus them for a lot of people mentality. But like, I don't know. I guess I saw it from birth since I'm a mixed race child. So I'm like, I always saw differences and similarities between two races just living at home. And obviously moving to Dubai where you see a lot more of a diverse cultural well, I guess depending on where you live in America, you get like a diverse community too. But yeah, just it's always important to learn about other cultures, which it was just a sentence I was never expecting for Punchcast, but there we go. I think we'll wrap it up here because I have a couple things I need to do. Plus, I mean, we hit the 2-hour mark, so it's kind of generally what we usually hit with the Punchcast. But
yeah, we're on time. We're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. You got your daily dose of two higher echelon weebs talking.
Higher echelon. None of us have seen Legend of the Galactic Heroes yet, so we can't claim that.
That's when you become a god tier weeb.
Okay, so that's so we're 2 levels down. Okay, I thought we were like okay.
Yeah, we're like we've consumed older anime. We've gotten into Toku. I'm not sure where VTubers put you on that echelon. I think back in the day it would ascend you, but now it's kind of like baseline. So like who knows at that point? But yeah, we've like the skill tree for being a weeb. We've kind of gone everywhere. We just haven't gone to the body pillow phase. Oh, going back to the anime club. Someone for my birthday gave me a body pillow, like the sheet. But
I was about to ask like which character. Oh my god!
I don't know. It was from some romance anime I never saw. Also, I was in college. That character was a high schooler. I'm like, kind of yikes there. Also, like it was surprisingly small. Like it wasn't a. It was like
length of your body, right?
No, it was arm length.
Oh, okay. That's not. Okay.
Which made it even weirder to hug it. I'm like, now I'm hugging a child. But I never used it. I think I stuffed it in my closet, and then when I moved, I just threw it in the trash.
So if that person who bought that body pillow for Sheen is listening to this, that's what happened.
That person was the shitty person that liked Kamen Rider and Lupin that turned out to be a shitty person that was associated with Miss D, so...
Oh, okay, never mind then.
If you're listening to this podcast, fuck you, asshole. Unless you've changed, but I don't think you did based off what I've heard from people that I still know from Dubai. So yeah, maybe repent. Read some Superman comics and learn from them.
Or even Kamen Rider. Just learn from them.
He liked Kamen Rider, but like he didn't really learn anything from it. So I don't know. Maybe watch Kuga. I don't know. Maybe he was just watching Gaim or something. I don't know. I mean, though I think most Kamen Riders would like appeal to you in terms of learning empathy and humanity. But I'm really surprised how many superhero fans turn out to be like really hateful people. I'm like, wow, we learned nothing from our favorite characters, did we now? But yeah, that we'll wrap it up here. Yeah. Falcon Punchers, as always, keep punching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye-bye.